This is ACMi News, recognized nationwide as the first place winner of the 2022 Hometown Media Award for News Access.
The new hires in town continue. Arlington has a new deputy town manager. Michael Mason will be leaving the school system and moving across the street to Town Hall. And he talks about his new job in this exclusive report. Arlington Select Board makes a decision regarding signs or posters on the Town Hall facade. And it's notably different from the town stance just 2 years ago. We'll have the latest. Remember this guy? He is hobnobbed with Hollywood's golden A-list stars and hosted The Tonight Show nearly 24 times. And we're trying to get him to come to Arlington. Comedian impersonator Rich Little has thousands of stories to tell, and we could have talked to him for hours. ACMi News starts right now.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered, giving you stories that count from people who care. Reliable, trustworthy, dependable. This is the 2022 nationwide award-winning ACMi News. ACMi News first told you last week Arlington has a new deputy town manager. Town leaders announced the appointment of Michael Mason as the deputy town manager finance director late last month. Hello, glad you could be with us. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Anim Osmani. Mason is currently the Chief Financial Officer for the Arlington School Department. He'll be overseeing the town's financial departments, including the assessor, controller, and treasurer.
Mason is also expected to work with the town's budget director to produce the annual town budget and capital plan. I had a chance to talk to Mr. Mason at his office about transitioning from Arlington's school system to town hall.
I'm looking forward to this new opportunity. I do also have some nerves with it. I think that I've been doing school business management for about 9 years. And so my concern is, with this change, what's to come, right? I do like working for the town of Arlington. They've been welcoming since I came in 2019. And since the announcement, everybody's been very welcoming since then. And just working, I was being able to serve the students here, like watching the work that I've done, how it indirectly impacts them, has been great. Now I want to take it to the next level. So I'm very aware that there's a pending override in the coming future, and so what I'd like to help with is working on that initially. That I know that's right in the forefront, and being that link between the town and the schools, I have the understanding of where the schools may operate efficiently and inefficiently, and be able to use that in this process as leverage and for long-term planning, as well as understanding half of the buildings are school buildings, and how can I then use the model that we've done in forecasting capital, working with facilities and other departments on the town side. And I'm not just talking about just focusing on schools and whatnot, but how could we modernize things, modernize processes? How can we leverage technology, which is what we've been doing. We've also been doing electrification of our vehicles. So how do we do that? How do we roll DPW in that? We're working on projects maybe on current properties of the town, and how do we make hubs and try to extend and follow through with the electrification plan for the community. So those are the things that I intend to work on and continue to be partners with all various departments that I've already been partners with, including the schools. And so just excited. So beyond July of 2023, I think I'll still be in the process of learning what this role is, right? And trying to learn the larger town system, the services, and try to get an understanding of what others beyond the citizens that send their children to the schools, what do they need? And so I want to take the time to learn as much as I can from Sandy Pooler's vast experience, and then continue to perfect my trade to eventually be in a position at some point to elevate to a role that can greater support Arlington in a higher role possibly. But I do not think, it's immediately right when Sandy Pooler's gone. So I think that this is a great time for transition, capacity growth for me and for the town of Arlington, and it gives us an opportunity to have an actual transition. Yeah, it's always been a long-term play. I think that I'm a person that's always looking for ways that I can grow. And Arlington has been able to give me those opportunities. And so long as that those opportunities still exist in the future, and I will continue to be committed to Arlington, and I want to grow together with Arlington. I think that's the most important thing. So I was able to grow here in the school district. Now it's a new opportunity to grow for the town to serve all the departments.
Mason previously worked as business manager for the Chelsea Public School System. He'll transition from the school department to the town hall in November.
The Select Board has voted to prohibit the use of Town Hall's facade for government speech in a 3-2 vote at its Monday, August 22nd meeting. The vote reflects a significant change in the official stance from June 2020 when a Black Lives Matter banner was draped at Town Hall following the death of George Floyd. Chair Len Diggins, John Hurd, and Diane Monahan voted yes on this issue. Steve DeCourcy and Eric Helmuth voted no and recommending further discussion.
We've got to think about if we as a board are engaging in government speech, what standards we're applying to doing it, whether it's here or anywhere else in town. And I think that's a fundamental question that we still have to address. I mean, if this, as far as it goes for the use of town-owned property for publicity and promotion, if we're removing town hall from publicity and promotion, you know, I think that there probably would be consensus among most of us on that, but I think there are still issues that we need to discuss.
And as far as using the facade of town hall for government speech, I don't see how that works. I really don't, because the way I would stand on that is, if we're going to allow, you want to call it government speech, someone might say free speech. I'm trying to think of something. My thing would be yes or no. So I feel that opens, which is why originally just the Town Day banner went up, just to announce Town Day, and that was it. But if we get into anything that's a statement, and whatever you want to call that statement, my personal feeling is then we have to offer it to everybody. And Boston City Hall just went through that, and it is going through that with the most recent ruling. And I don't think that's the way to go, because I think what that does is unnecessarily on my part may create a divisive issue that doesn't need to exist.
Town Council Doug Heim explained Town Hall will not be a place for government speech and that more work needs to be done if government speech can be made elsewhere in town. Steve DeCourcy said he'd like to see more development in Arlington's current government speech policy. If you take the T, we don't have to tell you how rough getting from point A to point B has been. To help ease congestion and provide transportation options in the region, Bluebikes is free for a month during the Orange and Green Line closures. Free 30-day passes are available to everyone through September 18th. That includes an unlimited number of trips up to 45 minutes. For more information on how to grab a free pass, just go to the website mbta.com. Again, that's mbta.com. You'll also get a bike route guide created by the Mass DOT and the MBTA to help direct people along the Orange Line route.
It's hard to believe, but it will soon be 21 years to the day that 19 hijackers commandeered 4 commercial airliners and carried out the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil. To mark this solemn anniversary, the Council on Aging will be hosting a Faces of Remembrance display wall from September 6th through the 10th at the Community Center. The wall is expected to be an impactful display of portraits by local artist Gina Johnson. Faces of Remembrance will highlight hand-sketched portraits of the 209 individuals from Massachusetts who perished on September 11th, 2001.
I have a wall of remembrance. Back in 2007, I started a volunteer mission, and I couldn't start with the 9/11, which I wanted, so I started with the fallen soldiers who died since 9/11. And I started drawing those for the family. So when at the same time, I was, looking at online and finding pictures of the fallen from 9/11. So I was doing a side project. So I had finished and put them on a wall. And I really haven't had time to bring it around too many times. So my dear friend who lives at the Legacy where I used to work for 20 years, thought it would be great to bring it to the community center as my last exhibit. We were brought up with a mom who was in the Navy before she got married, and she always told us service before self and, to do kindness to everywhere we can. And so I grew up with, she had her art ability and gave it to all 4 girls. So in 7th grade, I got hooked on volunteering, and I call myself a volunteeraholic. When you have a single story, you're in your own grief, but what I've known from just, doing portrait by portrait of the fallen soldiers, that people get it. If you put them up and combine them on a wall, then you're not alone.
The display goes up on Thursday, September 8th. Also, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. that day, the council will stage a coffee event in the main hall where Ms. Johnson will talk about this moving project, followed by a Q&A session. To find out more about the Faces of Remembrance display wall at the community center, just call Council on Aging Executive Director Christine Shaw at 781-316-3400. Again, that's 781-316-3400. The old Schwamb Mill is getting ready for an exciting, crisp New England fall season. From September 22nd through November 5th, the mill will celebrate the Alchemy of Autumn, featuring the marvelous works of several area sculptors. The New England Sculptors Association partnered with the old Schwamb Mill and the town of Arlington to mark the indoor-outdoor sculpture exhibition. ACMi News had the chance to talk to one local artist whose works will be on display at the mill.
I am also the president of New England Sculptors Association. So we don't have a brick and mortar presence, but we partner with a lot of different venues, and we got paired and found Old Schwamb Mill, and gosh, Janet and Ed are wonderful. And we've been brainstorming about this. We did one other kind of mini outdoor exhibit with them last fall, which was super successful. So it was in their little park outside I think they had it there for at least 4 months. So we will have some more pieces outside as well. So our artists are multimedia artists, indoor, outdoor artists, and they have given us the space upstairs in their gallery space. So we're gonna have, I think we've chosen 20 or 22 pieces for indoors. It's a great mix of hanging art from the ceiling and metal pieces and stone and glass pieces and some wall art inside, some pedestals, again, some hanging from the ceilings. It's going to be very exciting.
What got you into sculpting, first of all?
I'm a chiropractor by day, and I've been doing it now almost 40 years. And I just needed my art back in my life again. I was completely missing it. And I happened to see this class at DeCordova of stone and wood carving. And I thought, I've never tried that before. Let's see what happens. And it turns out that I really loved it and found the art that I really liked. I painted, I did weaving before I did other fiber arts, things like that. But I think the last element for me in this is touch, like the 3D feeling, touching just resonated with my work as well.
That's really interesting because you say you're a chiropractor, and with every job there comes a certain degree of stress. And
Yes.
for a lot of people, instead of sitting on the couch and talking to somebody for a half an hour to an hour and spending $200, the therapy comes from just working with your hands and feeling a sense of purpose and creating.
Correct. Yeah,
How
and that
does
was
that feel
great.
for you? Is that what it does for you?
It feels great for me. It's exactly what my work is about, and it's what I feel when I'm doing my work. It's just a total respite from the outside world.
Just shut it out and play the music.
Yeah, I'd be hammering away, and suddenly my husband would say, "Aren't you going to tell the kids to go to sleep?" And I'm like, "Why? It's only 8." And it's like, "Oh my God, it's midnight." The time would just not exist.
You lose yourself in time when you're creating, which is It's so therapeutic. I completely understand.
Therapeutic. Yeah.
Are there certain themes that you get into, or is it just something that just strikes you and say, I want to do this?
Initially, I was doing a lot, and I still do a lot of abstract work. but most of my work is all about really flow and movement and energy. And so the idea, my hope is, as the viewer, you would have a look and take that respite, have that pause, take that moment to shut everything else out and just be, not even think, really. It's not about thinking, it's just feeling. So again, to feel that movement and that flow and kind of that ease and peace that I'm hoping that my pieces bring.
As an artist, you have to answer this question. If someone buys a work of your art, it's all well and good, but sometimes artists consider their pieces their babies.
They're definitely
is it a sad day for you? It's a sad and happy day when you sell your work.
I think the saddest day was when I had made a piece and I brought it to my office and I just finished it. And my person came in and said, I want to buy that. And I was like, I haven't even named it yet. No, you can't take it yet. I need a few more days, That one was hard. But now I feel like in my hopes of releasing them into the world, that idea of peace goes forth. I mean, we need a lot more of that to balance what's happening. And so our tagline is now bringing art to communities. And we have been working very hard on that. And it's been exciting. So there are other shows. You can have a look at our website at anysculptors.org. We have some online shows as well, but I'm very excited about the old Schwamb Mill show.
The Alchemy of Autumn will be coming to the Old Schwamb Mill starting September the 22nd through November 5th. And the exhibits are free with $5 suggested donation. ACMi News had the opportunity to talk to an entertainment legend last week, comedian and impersonator Rich Little, a master mimic of more than 200 voices, continues to impress generations with his touring schedule throughout the U.S. and Canada.
From imitating JFK to Joe Biden, Jack Benny, Johnny Carson, John Wayne, and Jimmy Stewart, Rich Little has done them all.
ACMi News Director Jeff Barnes had a half-hour chat with Mr. Little from our Studio A, and he told Jeff about his pressure-packed experience working with legendary late-night host Johnny Carson. It may have looked easy, but it wasn't.
Rich Little. Now, I've done a lot of politicians over the years. I've done people like Bill Clinton, who wrote me a lot of great material. And George W. Bush. I don't know why the American people are picking on me. I haven't done anything.
Now, going to one of my favorite impersonations that you do, Johnny Carson.
He probably does a wider range of impressions than any guy working today. Would you welcome, please, Rich Little. Rich.
And this is Johnny Carson in Washington.
Now, Johnny Carson was, he couldn't have been that easy to do. And I understand you had a little trouble trying to nail it until you went to some zoo somewhere and saw an ostrich or what emu? Right. What was it?
I went to the San Diego Zoo, and I was standing there looking at some ostriches, and I suddenly said, "That's how you do Johnny Carson." Think of an ostrich. Huh? You know, that's how I got to do Jimmy Stewart. I mean, I'm getting confused here. Yeah. That's how I got to do Johnny Carson was, by thinking of an ostrich.
Hey, how about this? How about this weather we're having out here in California? Isn't it wild?
It's so funny when you see someone impersonate someone because you have the voice down. There's no doubt about that. But you also have to get the mannerisms down. And Carson had a million quirks. He had a lot of idiosyncrasies that he would use prior to even talking on a show.
Well, I did that on the roast. He had 23 mannerisms. You know, everything from scratching his head, scratching his arm, doing the, you know, I mean, he had so many tics. It was unbelievable. He had 23, and that's what I did. I told a joke, and then I would do one of his mannerisms. You know, did you hear the thieves yesterday broke into the police department here in Las Vegas and stole all their toilet seats? Did you know this? So far, the police have nothing to go on.
There you go.
Now, that's a terrible joke, but it's a typical Johnny Carson joke.
And yeah, well, when he failed, it was even better. When he bombed, I mean, that was just TV gold, and you capitalized on that. Now, how did he like your impersonating him?
Well, he liked it, but I think he got a little tired of it because I had a falling out with him. Not with him, with the producer of the show, Freddie DeCordova. Mm-hmm. And suddenly I was a no book on the Johnny Carson show for years. And I had done it. My God, I'd hosted the show 23 times. And I'd been on the show, about 40. And suddenly I was a no book. So something I must have said that upset somebody. But I ended up being a no book on the Carson show.
So you don't know to this day what DeCordova had that?
No, I never found out what the problem was.
No,
never.
It's a shame, but it's a vehicle.
I went down there a couple of times and said, "What did I do? What's wrong?" And they said, "Oh no, Rich, you're great. We just don't book impersonators on the show anymore." I saw Johnny Carson just before he passed away, about 6 months before he passed away, and he was extremely nice to me. I was in a restaurant in Malibu, and he came up to me and he said, "Rich, are you still doing me in your act?" And I said, "Of course." He said, "But I'm not on television." I said, "John, people will always remember you. I mean, you're an icon, for God's sake." I don't believe it. You're still doing me? And I said, "Yeah, I will be doing you for forever. I mean, here I am today. I'm still doing them, you know."
Next week, Rich Little tells us about another high-rated television program working with A-list Hollywood heavyweights, the Dean Martin Comedy Roasts, a program that reached millions of American living rooms. A lot of funny stories about Dean Martin and actor Jimmy Stewart.
Ultimate Frisbee has been an ever-growing sport in popularity, and Arlington has quickly established itself as a mecca for Ultimate Frisbee activities as they keep drawing in more and more participants. On Saturday, August 27th, the Arlington Ultimate Club hosted a Cats in the Hat tournament, drawing in players of all ages from communities far and near into Thorndike Field for the sake of ultimate fun.
Oh, the game is a non-stop throwing festival with a lot of laughs and a lot of exhaustion at the end of it. But it's centered around fair play, and anytime you get to throw a big floaty Frisbee, it's just an absolute hoot.
The Cats in the Hat tournament featured 6 teams and played on 3 divided fields at Thorndike in basic tournament format. This fundraiser was aimed for community building and supporting the Arlington Ultimate Club to pay for uniforms and travel costs for the respective high school and middle school teams and fund other community events.
In Arlington, I could see this tournament being maybe complemented by another, maybe a high school tournament in the spring. It'd be something that I think we've dreamed about doing for a while.
Ultimate is a non-contact 7-on-7 sport in which players try to score on their opponent's end zone with the Frisbee in a player's hand. There are obviously more rules to the game, but we'll keep it simple for now. There's also a unique aspect of the game that not only it isn't common in other sports, but it also fosters a different kind of social atmosphere and develops a new meaning of sportsmanship that draws in many athletes from outside the sport.
There's a unique aspect of Ultimate called the spirit of the game. So the way that the game is played is always with respect for the people that you're playing against. It's self-officiated, we call our own fouls, and there's something about that and the willingness of the kids to buy into that program that just attracts athletes from other sports.
The Arlington Ultimate Club started in 2014 with only 13 kids in the program. Since then, the club has grown to over 200 members. If you want to learn more about future events or how you can either get involved or support the club, visit their website, arlingtonultimate.org.
In this newscast, we are saying a fond farewell to this treasured colleague sitting to my right, Anim. Anim came to ACMi as a news intern from Suffolk University in January of 2020. From there, he wore many hats: reporter, news director and sports director, field production coordinator, and just about everything in between. Anim is leaving us to work for that little-known university down the street. What's it called, Anim?
Oh, it's just some no-name university called Harvard. You may have heard of it. I don't know.
Anim is boasting, but rightfully so. No, I can't recall. But anyway, Anim, you've been a real pleasure to work with, and we are clearly going to miss you.
The Regent Theater hosts many famous global figures in the arts and entertainment world and showcases their works at the very own historic Regent Theater. But May 22nd brings more prominent figures. Arlington Police Department responds to a civil rights lawsuit filed late this week alleging a racial profiling incident which occurred February 2021. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Anim Osmani.
You know what, while we have a chance before the game starts, I want to thank everyone on the production staff. We have Anim Osmani producing. We have Katie Chang standing by, Kevin Wetmore to my right. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Is it recording?
Arlington is a very historic town. It's located 6 miles northwest of Boston. It was settled in let me look at the script.
Wait.
Right, so it's been 9 challenging months, and so far you've been on top of it to the best of your abilities, and that's very admirable. I appreciate it. I like seeing how you've made your way into where you are now.
Indeed, James, it was the epicenter of entertainment.
It was the scene of spectacles, Anim.
Not only that, it was a fulcrum of fun.
All right, okay. Somebody else writes all this, by the way. Enough of the alliterations.
The meeting place of mirth.
I said enough, dude. That'll do it for this week's edition of ACMi News. Thanks for joining us. I'm James Milan.
And I'm Anim Osmani. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy the comfortable weather while we have it. That'll do it for this week's edition of ACMi News. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Anim Osmani.
And I'm Paul Werlin. We have a booth set aside for this year's Town Day. I'll be anchoring with our news director, Jeff Barn, and we are going to have a lot of fun. We certainly hope that you stop by and say hi. We'll see you next week.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.